So meanwhile, we're preparing this. So lately, in the last years, there have been a lot of different platforms for doing procedures. Is it okay? So we have a lot of different platforms for suturing, plication, and the market is requiring some benefits that it's not just related to the economic part. It's not just related to the efficacy, because if we compare all the platforms that we do have now in the market, mostly of them, they have the same results, the same data, but yeah, I just did what they told me to do. So if we want to bring something that is more available for the bigger amount of population, we need to provide different options. So we don't need just to look for something that is effective, because that's something that we already know with all the platforms on the market. So in the last years in my unit, we started to working with the IOPIT platform in 2011. And since then, we've been working to develop something that it was reproducible, something that it was, I don't know, I'm so sorry that it's not. Yeah, I know, but we try also with the, because it's Keynote, and I don't know why. Yesterday it was working on the other rooms, but. Oh, full screen, get full screen. Yeah, okay. First success of the day, okay. Let's go and start again. So, as I was saying, different platforms, and we are looking for something that, as the topic where you're talking, that it's available and working for the mass. So those are my disclosures. And as I said, different platforms, we're looking for bariatric endoscopy procedures. We have like around like 12 to 19% total body weight loss. That's the target. When we're going to intragastric balloons, we are in the lower range. When we are going to the suturing and plication, we're going to the higher range. So I'm going to talk about the incisionless operating platform. That's device that we have a transport with four working channels. One of them is for the pediatric scope, and the other three we're going to use different devices. One is a grasper of 33 millimeter when we're working with primary, and when we're working with revisional, we're working with the 60 millimeter. But now that we're focusing on the primary interventions, we use the 33 millimeter. That means that we're going to do bites of almost 7 centimeters. And then the helix, which is a helix that we use to pull the tissue inside the grasper. And what we know with this device, as I said, I started with it in late 2010, is that we have full thickness bites. So we started with it a long time ago, and the technique has been going through an evolution. We started with only one helix, but then in 2022, we started to play, thanks to a crisis that happened, that a good friend of mine, Chris Thompson, was not available to have the 33 millimeter grasper, so he tried to make the same size of bites with the 60 millimeters, so with two folds together, so providing the same size. And then when I saw that idea, I thought, okay, how we can improve the primary? If we have a 33, let's gonna try to do a full case with the apposition of two plications, the same concept a little bit that we have with Endomina, but as you can see on the image, on the animation down on the left, the difference is that we are not gonna do a position of two plications. We're gonna make two plications together, and the moment that we are gonna think, it's gonna become a big bite. That's gonna be a position of serosal to serosal, and we know that that's giving us durability. That was one of the main differences that we have with this technology compared to the other ones that are available in the market, the durability. Second thing, it's we tried to do something that it was extremely reproducible. Reproducibility, I think it's a must when we're working on something as new as bariatric endoscopy, that we have like not a long life, and we are still like improving and working on it. So with the different suturing and plication platforms, we're trying to mimic the sleeve gastrectomy somehow. So we're working on the greater curvature. It's kind of like consensus. It's kind of I agree with all of us that the greater curvature is the area where we have to work. So we started working and focusing on greater curvature. And instead of combining the direction of the plications between anterior, posterior plus distal proximal, we decided only to do anterior, posterior with the idea of tubulizing the stomach. We also saw that only with this kind of plications, we were also reducing the length of the stomach around like 12 to 15 centimeters on average. And you can see here that what we're doing is always starting on the posterior wall. Then as long as the first fold is inside of the grasper, we're gonna lock the gilix to have our second hand free, and then we're gonna go for the anterior wall. This is something that it took me a while to get to that point, and it's very simple, but then with this thing, we can see what we're doing. If we were starting on the other way around, we wouldn't see. And then when we were going to distal proximal, that was something that it was happening often. So if we want to have something safe, we need to simplify what we're doing. So that was another learning that we had during the process of keep on working on this procedure. Then another of the things that we found out with this way of doing the procedure is that it was actually, it's an intervention for dummies. It's extremely, extremely simple. We're just like following a line. It's like when we are in school, that we have to follow the points and then put a line in between the points. That's very simple. So me, when I'm going to proctor and I'm explaining what is the pattern, it's super simple to understand. And that also helps to people that it's starting with the procedure just to focus on the steps with the device, which the device is extremely helpful and very simple too, because it's just like two movements that you have to do. It's advance the blue button, then advance the green button, then release the blue button, and then advance the green button. So it's always blue, green, blue, green. It's very simple too. So again, simplicity, it's a good thing for us. So again, about the reproducibility, there's a helping us to do studies, because if we can compare different sites with the same pattern, that help us to improve. So that's another of the things that we're seeing. And then it's pending on publication. Soon we're gonna submit it. But we did a multi-center study in Europe with Jan Grebe, Carl Miller, Ivo Voskowski, Sebastian Techer, and Milutin Bulajic. All of them, they were trained by me. We compare our data at 6 months. It is the same data that we're having with other platforms, but the interesting thing, we took the first 10 cases of each of our colleagues, and it was interesting that the ones that had the worst data, it was me. So I'm very proud when I'm proctoring that my students or my the people that I'm proctoring are doing better than me. But this is telling you that how important it is to have a proctor that knows what he's doing, because then the learning curve is so fast. 5 cases. They only needed 5 cases to be, or even less than that, to be able to do the procedure, which is something that related to the topic of the talk, it is important, because we're saying if we want to offer this to bigger amount of population, we need to have something that's easy and fast to catch. And no, not less important, but not because we are like saying it at the end of the presentation, it is what you're seeing is a real-time intervention. And we are putting the last plication. That means 7 minutes of intervention. 7 minutes of intervention, even though maybe the device is a little bit more expensive than other ones that we have, we are reducing dramatically the time of the OR. And all of us, we know that time of OR is important, not just because of the economy, it's also because of the side effects and the comorbidities for our patients. And then on the other hand, we're gonna be able to optimize the time of the OR. And that's gonna increase our activity. And it's gonna make us not be tired as physicians. We can do more volume. So I think that that's also another important thing when we are developing something new. No, that we just not have to show a new fancy intervention. Sometimes we have to go to simplicity because obesity is a chronic disease. We know that those patients, they are going to have to deal with a lot of things during their life. They're going to have to deal probably with the chance of weight regain, with failure in the future. That's why the pattern is designed for being able to be converted to bypass easily. And if it's needed to have a conversion to a sleeve gastrectomy, it could. I don't think that it has sense to convert something restrictive to restrictive. Even, I mean, if it's very dilated, you can do it again endoscopically. But if it's, the criteria should be, it failed the restrictive, let's do the conversion to the metabolic. That's why we leave a length of 3 centimeters from the GI junction to the plication that is closer. So easy to convert. And as I was saying, durability. The gastrography image that you have in the center, it's after 2 years of intervention. The image on the right side, it's a laparoscopic image after the intervention. I know it's not as much restrictive than sleeve gastrectomy. Hey, but it's 7 minutes intervention. Patient can go home the same day, and it's good enough. We have to have a good multidisciplinarity. We have to do a proper follow-up. It's good enough. And then the pediatric scope, it's nice when you do retroflex, the reduction of the diameter. We're working with CO2 insufflator inside of the stomach. So that's not a real pressure that we're going to have the stomach. The moment that we remove the insufflator for the intervention and we go with a normal insufflation, the reduction is much more considerable than we see on the procedure itself. So here you have the data when we were doing the old patterns with 16 to 18 plications. In my institution, those are the pilot studies that we do for the FDA trial. We were like around 16 to 17% total body weight loss at 1 year. And we were on the beginning a little bit like, does it gonna affect the effectiveness of the procedure if we are reducing dramatically the amount of plications? You saw the video, it's 6 plications. It's a significant difference to what we had before. It does not. So we have something that is as effective, faster, safe, reproducible. So I think that if we're thinking about the future and if we want to provide something that is good for patients and it's good for physicians to be able to spread and to be able to do big volumes of activity, that's a really good option. So thank you so much again for the opportunity.